Match day 8 in the books. Massive result for Arsenal, taking all 3 points off a big deflection from Manchester City. We'll have all the recap from that game. Elsewhere on Sunday, a couple 2-2 draws between Brighton and Liverpool. Also West Ham and Newcastle at the Olympic Stadium. Man U leaving it late against Brentford to take all 3 points. We'll cover everything from match day 8. This is the Premiership Rehearsal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. And the ball in behind Damian Varney! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Varney!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
That's right.
Yes.
Match week 8.
8.
In the books.
Match week 8 in the books.
Yeah, you hate to say it, but we got another international
break. It
this
goes so
upcoming
fast.
weekend.
It felt like we just recorded our narrative podcast like a week ago, and
Yeah,
it was like 3 weeks ago.
I was going to say, I think I have amnesia. I always remember the early international break. I don't recall the second international break, but
Yeah.
there is always one in October, I'm pretty sure. So
Yes.
so
It's
I'm
just very weird.
lost in the Premier
I feel like
League
it's normally
songs.
later. I have no proof, but I feel like it's normally later.
Yeah.
So, let's get into it, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Luton and Tottenham
Luton and Tottenham.
at the Ken. We're gonna call it the Ken. Does anyone call it? Is there a nickname for Luton Stadium yet?
Well, I think you just made it.
The
Ken.
Ken, baby.
Nothing
The
could be
Ken.
better than Ken.
Yes, absolutely.
Luton is Ken-enough.
In my book and your book,
Absolutely.
that's how it matters. But their defense was hanging on by a thread. I'll tell you that much to start this game.
Yeah, the first half, it was like 87% possession at one point.
And it was any time Luton tried to go forward, they just turned it over. I mean, that's what's so impressive about this Tottenham team with Bissouma and Sarr in midfield actually like being a formidable kind of partnership, and just, I guess not really partnership because they have a bunch of guys packed in the midfield, but you know my point. I mean, they're rolling with Ollie, Skip, and Højbjerg, and obviously Betancourt are a little more attack-minded, but that's what they're rolling with these last couple of years, and Tottenham fans, for the most part, were pretty realistic about it, but some people try and talk themselves into it. It's like, no, this is an actual midfield, what these guys are doing.
Yes, it showed in this one. They were just dominating possession, early chances. I mean, they had like a number of chances right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. Richarlison was not in form, which makes the Sheffield goal all that much more amazing.
Yes. But I will say, you know what I have discovered about Luton, and I was texting you this.
What's that?
I was saying, Luton, they're convincing me. I'm buying into Luton, and you know why?
Buying Luton stock. Why?
In the modern game, you know what we severely lack? We severely lack soul. You know what
True.
Luton has? They have
Soul.
an abundance of soul. Kenilworth
Absolutely.
Road, absolutely hopping.
They can just grind out results based on the atmosphere. I believe that, and we'll see it as the year goes on. As far as talent and stuff go, I still like Anderson for him. Lockyer's been a little better as the year's gone on. A lot of their chances come from Alfie Doty. I don't know how I feel about that. The fullback just swinging balls in, but I mean, anyone who swings it in, I guess what matters. And I guess Marvelous and Combo's been good at like winning the ball and intercepting, but other than that, it's still not looking great. Morris, if you get him a chance, there's a decent enough chance he'll score it. So
Yeah,
we'll see, I guess.
I've been liking Doty. I've been liking Morris. I've been liking Ogbene. He's been cooking on the
Yeah.
wing.
Yes. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, even Luton had one or two chances. It was probably more closer to the second half, or early second half, but still, it's. But then they
mhm.
have a couple guys sitting out here, and it's like, oh man. But they did sign your boy today, Andros Townsend.
Andrews Townsend, massive signing.
The whole thing, which is really the only good part of footy Twitter, is seeing stuff like this every once in a while. But it was like everyone was like, so who's the three to complete the trifecta of Barkley, Townsend, and like who's the third guy? And the consensus everyone pretty much settled on was Walcott. And I was like, all right, I think so. But who else could be there, Sam, of just like a kind of
Yeah,
washed Premier League guy that would just be like Luton would just sign, and you're like, oh man.
I don't think Walcott really fits that bill. I mean,
So you think it'd have to be less attack minded, more attack minded?
no,
Who's a guy that you think would be?
I feel like
Lee
Walcott was
Cattermole
too
would be, but
good.
he's too old. He's too old.
You need someone more mediocre than Theo Walcott.
Oh, the peak being more mediocre.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure who that would be. I'd have to really think about it, think long and hard, and survey the years of Premier League meme tier guys.
Yeah.
I do like
I can think of guys where, but they would just be like not good enough. Guys like James McLean and like a bunch of guys who'd be on like West Brom and stuff, you know.
yeah.
But again, that's not quite what we're going for. We're spending way too much time on this. Right before the end of the first half, red card, Sam.
Basuma.
Yeah, we're singing his praises. Guess what? He says, "Nope, I'm getting sent off."
You know what? You should be sent off if you're trying to dive against Luton. That's disgraceful.
It's the same about Wolves when they're time wasting that one game. It's like, what is this? This shouldn't be allowed. This should be like 8-game suspension.
Yes.
That's just the most shameless thing ever. Trying to cheat the game against Luton Town.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Goes into halftime 0-0. Second half, big chance for Luton right off the bat.
yeah,
Adebayo, after a strong run from Ogbene, but Adebayo with the open net. Can't get a foot on it. Can't get it in the net. Misses that chance. And then shortly after, Mickey Van de Ven scoring from a short corner. Superb assist from James Madison, weaving along the end line there to open the scoring.
yeah. James Madison impact obviously can't be overstated. It's just insane how good he is for this team. And yeah, I mean, he's like cementing himself for sure in talks for Player of the Year, but probably top 3 at this point. The way he's been playing, and Van de Ven, you would say, it has been, decent so far as a player. It hasn't been amazing for Tottenham, but their defense hasn't really had to have too many crazy tests in their game
what I
so
was gonna
far.
say. He hasn't
Yeah,
been tested too
but
much.
he does get a goal in this one, massive
Yeah.
for Tottenham.
Yeah, some good chances for Luton to draw level, but they weren't able to capitalize on those chances. Dottie had a chance, flashes it across, going wide, and then Carlton Morris forcing a save, and then Doty.
Alfie
That's what
Doty. Yeah, you want to say Daughtry is what you want to say. Chris Daughtry.
Chris Doty.
It's Alfie Daughtry. Chris Daughtry's brother. No. Who's the other? There was an Alfie someone too. Was he on Tottenham? No, there's a guy in like Swansea.
Yeah.
I feel like I would definitely be an Alfred or an Al if I had that name. I wouldn't be an
Yeah.
Alfie. Alfie is like what like 7-year-old to go by.
I don't know. I think you got some Alfie energy.
Got some alpha energy, brah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I'm more
I
of
mean,
a Chidozi, personally. Or a Pelly
I tell you-
Ruddock.
I tell you what, I'm glad that you're believing in Luton, but they fall in this one, Sam. 1-0.
You know, you can't fault them. They were They were in the game in the second half. They could have scored. Just got to capitalize on those chances. The vibes were
Yeah.
immaculate. I think Luton is the new Vibes FC, at home
Okay.
at
So,
least.
yes,
I love that their fans are so close to the field.
it's so awesome. That's why you love Loftus.
Yes, exactly. It's like these modern stadiums are just soulless.
Yeah,
I
you're
need
sitting far away, generate as much revenue as possible. Did you see the template for Palace's stadium?
no,
Like, I love
I
Crystal
didn't
Palace.
know
It's
this.
massive, and it's like they would never fill that. Like Selhurst, that I don't know.
Was it for a new one or?
Yeah, a new one. Well, adding on to what they have, and it would just be like adding a shit ton of seats, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to send it to you after.
Yeah, if your stadium doesn't have at least like 100 seats that are behind a support beam, meaning you cannot see the game at all, then I
Yeah,
don't want any part of
it's
it.
not a real stadium. Not a real stadium. Didn't pass my inspection.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tottenham continue to cruise up the table, ending the
Yes,
week in first place.
I think there's a good chance that they'll have back-to-back Player of the Month and Manager of the Months.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Crazy,
Tottenham's coming.
crazy. Tottenham Bros. We can't
Speaking
get
of
too
uh-oh,
cocky. Yeah,
Chelsea.
Vincent Company's outfit. Oh,
He's only got
yeah.
one. That's,
Well, yeah, but that's the issue.
yeah.
He has one outfit, and it's trash.
He can't even get a Scott Parker cardigan going. I mean, that was class.
I miss Scott Parker. I'll say it. I don't care what anyone says.
He's coming back.
He should. This one to start. Chelsea looking pretty slow early on. Sterling with a nice cut in and then sailed one just wide. And then right after that, Burnley hit him on the counter. A little pulling Disasi and Thiago Silva out of position. Once you know it, Lyle Foster's is some guy. I didn't know who this was. Wilson Odebear.
Oh, the bear. The bear.
Not familiar with your game, son. But you get the goal at the far post. Bobby Sanchez, nothing to do, and you're thinking, "Uh-oh." And Chelsea back to
Yeah.
being shaky. And then after that, there wasn't much that happened. Minus Chelsea kind of holding the ball, still going really, really slow, relying on Raz to do a lot of the heavy lifting out on that left wing.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea, the only good thing about them slowing the game down was they were able to win the ball, and Burnley was fully sucked out of the attack. I mean, they couldn't get anything going at all.
Yeah.
And then once you know it, when you just put the ball in the box and you just try and do something, Sam, where you put the ball towards net, it works out. And Chelsea get an own goal, a very delicate chip off of Al-Dakhil.
Yeah, my guy, I was
You were trashing him
slandering.
last week, and you know what he did this week? He gets an own goal.
He's a secret Chelsea agent. I'll tell you that.
He could very well be. That was a beautiful chip.
Yes.
So that makes it 1-1 going into half. Second half, Chelsea come out fast, hold the ball, good possession. Sterling just torches. I don't remember who it was.
Coutinho.
Taylor? Vitinho. Torches him up the wing, draws the penalty. Cole Palmer steps up to take it, slots it in. 2-1 Chelsea. And that, I guess that's the encouraging sign about Chelsea, no matter, even though they haven't had the best results this year. Liverpool game, they came back to get a point at least. This game obviously coming back to win. So they, when they get scored on, they're not necessarily down and out. Like last year, it felt like once they conceded first, it was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah,
Like,
because
there's no hope. They're just too slow.
they could not score to save their lives, so they're like, "Oh God, now we have to score 2 goals."
Yeah, it
Impossible.
was brutal. Impossible.
Yeah, this was Cole Palmer getting the penalty. That was like the equivalent of Arsenal giving Kai Havertz the penalty. The morale booster.
Kind of. The morale booster, but Palmer's actually been pretty decent for him so far, and we'll see that with the play later.
What are you saying about Kai Havertz?
I mean, Havertz
Cobra
has
Kai.
had moments now. He's had flashes. He's
not
officially
very
had
good.
flashes.
He's
Stop
not
it.
very good.
Stop it. He's had flashes. I think the interesting thing was Jackson on the bench and Brosia coming in to start. He just rolled with that still.
Yeah, which
Mudryk, Chelsea fans were very upset Mudryk on the bench, but I don't think he's fully healthy, and they only brought him in at the very end. And it's like, I don't know why they even did that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird, but that makes sense if he wasn't fully fit. But I saw there
I
was
think they felt
rumors of Brosia being loaned out, and it's like, well, he started the
I don't
past
get
two
that.
games.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think they'll rotate those two. I think Chelsea will probably lose out on Tony in the winter window, and I think that next summer they'll get Osimhen. I don't think they get Osimhen in the winter window.
Okay,
That's my hot take.
yeah, even though he's
Um,
upset.
yeah, he can be upset.
Yeah,
Um, Chelsea wasn't upset when Raheem Sterling added a third assist going to Conor Gallagher. Chelsea just really able to break very nicely in this game and actually capitalizing on counterattack chances. And you saw
yeah,
that
for
with
sure in the second half.
the fourth one with Jackson. I mean Sterling just torching the fullback, and then swings it into Cole Palmer. Palmer lays it off for Jackson. Makes a nice little turn, shoots it near, far post, and Chelsea grabbed the 4-1 victory.
Yeah, no one wants to say it, but Raheem Sterling has absolutely been
He's been
cooking.
cooking. He's been cooking. It must be said.
All it took was for him to get dropped from the England squad.
Yes, and then he'll go back, and then he just gets too cozy.
Yeah. So
Well, Sam, my hypothesis of the bad teams win, and then they immediately followed up with a loss holds true. They're like, finally 3 points. Okay, now we can take it easy.
yes.
Because there was definitely a drop off. Burnley did not look as good this game. Even in the first 15, they had one counterattack, but other than that, they didn't look like they were really up for it.
I was just kind of surprised by the change in lineup from Burnley coming off that win there. But I mean, Odegaard looked pretty good in his debut there. Obviously, getting the goal. I think he had a shot that had to be saved by Sanchez. So
Well,
interesting
your
there.
boy Doc Heel got taken off at half, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Koleosho start off the bench. I feel like he's been a
Yeah, he's been
spark.
pretty decent for him. He must be, I don't know, rotation, I guess.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Burnley's in a lot of competitions at the moment. Champions League,
They're still in Europa League. It's kind of weird. Once you qualify for Europa League and you're a not top six team, you're just in it forever. They don't tell you
grandfathered
that,
in.
but yeah.
Yeah.
It
All
it
right.
just becomes like an FA Cup, but not the top six teams. Uh,
Moving on to the next game, Everton versus Bournemouth.
but here's my victory lap for the dumbest possible thing I said to start Jack Harrison in this Everton side, and they do, and he scores.
Who could
I
believe
mean,
it?
I don't know. I'm sure Sean Dyche was in disbelief. And he had to be like, "Go on, get in there,
Yeah.
Jackie."
Yeah, Everton got off to a quick start in this one. Early goal, 8 minutes in. Poor giveaway
James
from
Gardner.
Zabarny.
We
Leading
didn't
to a
really
goal.
we did not put James Gardner on blast, but we did say we expect a little more out of him. You know what, Sammy scores here finally.
We
We're like all the chances
specifically
are the
mentioned his
chances are falling to
finishing.
this lad, and he has not scored. And you know what, he did right by us.
He needed the wake-up call.
A little
So,
commentator, I know. Well, all the Premier League players listen to this, which is crazy because no fans are actually allowed to listen to this except for Premier League players.
players-only podcast.
Yeah. Um, I was thinking about it, and it hits me every time I watch Everton, but I never really say it on the pod. There has to be someone better than Ashley Young to play. There has to be.
That
Even if it
Ashley
means a
Young is
different
like the most
formation.
Sean Dyche player ever.
I think Ashley Young could be the guy we're missing for for the Luton Town
True.
signing.
Next year.
Yeah, next year. Next year for sure. Um yeah, Everton just looked good. I think this was a little more about Bournemouth, and Bournemouth are looking dire. They're looking stinky, to say
Yeah.
the least. They really can't do much in attack right now. Um, it's just not going, and they can't really get forward. I don't like the vibe of their team right now. Their layout, as far as this lineup, at least looked a little better on paper. Our boy Dango got in there,
Yeah.
but I just don't know. It's just off. Boy Rothwell didn't come on till half. I just don't get it. Guys, Sinister got in this game. I was
Yeah.
watching that. I was like, Sam's gonna like this.
That guy's terrible. I would like to see David Brooks get a start over Ryan Christie,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
I
just
don't know.
weird. And Aaron's on the bench. I just feel like this team would. I don't worry about them going down. Maybe I should, but I don't. I just feel like if they even get Tyler Adams back, they'll be fine. But he's had a setback now again, which is
Yeah,
kind of weird. So who
exactly.
knows? Who knows? Anything else in the first half catch your eye?
Not much. I didn't think Everton was that great. Kind of like you were saying,
No,
it was
that's
more so
yeah.
Bournemouth was just pretty bad.
It
Uh,
is hilarious that the expected goal stat of Everton is that they're like what the top team or one of the top teams in expected goals from open play. That like what is that? How is that even possible? They're like I don't think they're top. They might have been like second or something.
See,
But it
that's
was like
why I'm
what?
telling you, you gotta buy Everton stock.
Yes. Even though we don't believe in expected goals, but yes, we
Well,
do.
I do when they suit my cause,
That's fair.
when they
That's
prove my hypothesis.
absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Goes to
anyways,
halftime 2-0.
well, we didn't talk about the second goal. uh,
Well, what do you want me to say about Jack Harrison? He hit a banger.
yes, outside
He
the
had a
box from
that
Jack
was
Harrison.
that was so lovely. The way he dinked that in there.
It
Neto, there
was.
was just no chance.
Yeah, there was a couple chances just before halftime. Too, Calvert-Lewin hitting off the bar, and then Onana had a chance that went just wide. So a chance for a third even before halftime, but goes in halftime 2-0. Second half, not a whole lot happened, but Everton did add a third. Ducore tapping in from the rebound. Jack Harrison's close range effort. Um,
Is there a world in which Chelsea buy Ducore for 70 mil from Everton? He's the answer to striker. Is
yeah, striker Ducore.
yes.
The answer to striker is no striker,
Yes.
even though they tried that with Mr. Kai Havertz.
Yeah, pretty much. So Jack Harrison, goal and assist in this. It makes me wonder what was going on. I might have to like look after the pod to see if he was hurt or what the issue was with him not getting in the team sooner. He's one of those guys where it's like you just plug and play. Get him in, he's in the squad, he's good to go, get him in the lineup. There's no reason he shouldn't be,
Yeah,
given
I
the fact
feel
you're
like
also Everton.
he's probably one of the more underrated players in the league for some reason. I don't know
100%.
why.
Well, he's on Leeds and he's on Everton. It's not, those aren't glamorous teams. Even though Leeds, the one year where he was loaned to him, it was a pretty glamorous team going, get what, 8th or ninth. But
True.
yeah, he's a very aesthetically pleasing player when I watch him.
Absolutely. All right.
Finishes 3-0. Everton 3-0. Good meal.
Yeah, Everton, good victory for them. Just a comfortable win, keeping the clean sheet
Yeah.
there.
I'd
Bournemouth.
feel worse about it if it was like a 1-0 or something like that and they just grinded it out. I wouldn't feel good about that. But 3-0, they just took their chances when Bournemouth wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
Goes to show that Everton, they got that dog in them, as Sam says.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got that dog in them.
And you know who does not have that dog in them is Bournemouth.
Sheffield? Oh. Bournemouth at the moment, yes.
Sheffield doesn't either. But yeah, I was just going to round it out by saying, again, another disappointing loss for Bournemouth. We saw Everton be the team that lost to Luton. So if you're Bournemouth, you're thinking maybe this is our game where we can pick up
No.
a win.
Wrong.
Not the case.
Wrong. Incredibly wrong.
I think they have the curse of Gary O'Neill hanging over them.
I think they should get a new manager, and they should get Tyler Adams healthy.
Scott Parker, round two.
Me. I think it's me. I think they hired, I think they hired me.
Alfie Hank.
Who's even out there for manager? Big Sam to Bournemouth. Make it happen.
Big Sam, yeah.
Big Sam. Maybe Jesse Marsh.
Change it
He's
into
doing
Big Bournemouth.
Jesse Marsh is doing Champions League like pregame for CBS, so he's available.
Yeah, I'd probably rather do that than manage Bournemouth at the moment.
Yeah, I still believe in Bournemouth.
I do not.
I'm not buying stock, but I still believe in him. We just need a new manager. Let's move on. Fulham and Sheffield, Sam. Potentially one of the worst first halves I've ever seen in my life. For it being boring, but also the fact that the one eventful thing was Chris Basham just going compound fracture on us.
Going Kevin Ware on the bit. Going Anderson Silva. Going Chris Weidman. Going Conor McGregor. That's a full snap.
Yeah, that was just brutal. He went right over it, and they showed it, and it's like, oh man,
Yeah, definitely got
it's so weird because it's that kind of force where it's like you don't think it's that much, but if it's your full body weight like on there, when you're leaning one way, you're trying to do one thing, but you're actually all your weight's going the other way. It's like there's just freakish shit that'll happen like that. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like you think about the human body at times is so resilient, and then at other times it like completely
So
looks like
vulnerable.
it's made out of cardboard or something.
Yeah,
But anyways, like you
completely
said,
agree.
first half very boring. This was one of those games where I watched it after the fact and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
3-1.
same here.
Not bad."
Yep.
And I watched the first half and I was like, "How are there 4 goals in this game?"
Yeah, all in the second half. But Fulham's attack, I was very disappointed by.
Yeah.
It was not. I know they've been lackluster lately, and that's kind of why I was sketched out by them. But I figured this could be a get right game for them. You know, the one you circle and you're like, oh, we can kind of stat pad, and this will be pretty good. But
Mhm.
did not go to plan for them in the first half. But second half, they come out. Bobby D. Cordova Reed, Sam.
Yeah.
He's like 3 years away from being on Luton. But in this case, he's scoring goals for Fulham, baby.
That is
Pereira
true.
with the assist.
Yeah, nice curling ball in from Pereira. Quick build up. Better to see, but in the second half it just felt more like Sheffield was a little looser in terms of
Well,
midfield and defense.
and that's the thing is they keep it really tight and they want to keep the ball in midfield, so they keep it away from their net. But they also can't really go forward and attack, so they're trying to keep the game in midfield. But once they kind of open up a little bit, because like, all right, well maybe we should try to score. It's like, no, your defense is exposed and your defense sucks, so it's
Yeah.
just trash.
Yeah.
But they do get an own goal from Anthony Robinson,
Yes, sir.
who I haven't done daily much this year. I did daily this week. Had a great week, except for one guy, Sam. It was this guy. Anthony Robinson had him in the lineup, gets an own goal.
Brutal.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I try and have faith in the Americans. Well, how they repay me? Crash. Just kidding. I had Tim Ream in this, so he did fine.
The yin and yang.
Yeah, the yin and yang of American footy.
Yeah. And then there was a very weird goal. Substitute Tom Kearney comes on and has this weird shot from distance that was kind of like scuffed.
Yeah,
It was
to
almost
say
like
the
a
least.
knuckleball
Yeah, no spin.
off the bar and then down off of Fodringham
Nottingham and in.
and in.
Yeah,
It was one of those goals you're like, what just happened?
West Foderingham might be the most bad luck Brian there is for his, and it all comes back to his time wasting. If he's not time wasting,
Yeah.
they don't blow that game to Tottenham. He doesn't have this own goal.
Yeah, really,
It's
he only
brutal.
has himself to blame.
Sam, how many times am I gonna have to watch Sheffield and I have to see Ollie McBurney play a full 90? Like they needed a goal and they took off Cam Archer and they left Ollie McBurney out there who has a yellow.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we'll leave on the big lad.
It's like, okay, nice.
Yeah, looking at their bench, it does not inspire.
And I don't even get the point of having him out there. It's like, why can't Ryan Brewster be out there? Like he got subbed on this game. It's like you give him a shot. It's something.
Yeah, I mean, I can't
just don't
believe
get
that James McAtee Didn't start this one.
He was on the bench. Yeah, I don't know how much longer they can go with Heckingbottom. I mean, this is like, unless you're resigned to thinking you're going down anyways. Like, I don't know, because this is not like they must just have no faith in their personnel, anyways. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
It's very
'Cause if they had
reminiscent.
any faith, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was very reminiscent.
Reminiscent.
Ooh, struggled with that. Reminiscent of the last time they were in the Premier League, where it was like, all right, 5 weeks in, and this team is by far the worst team.
David McGoldrick, baby. Yeah, come on down.
Yeah.
Oh, you're trash. You're not a Premier League player, sorry.
And somehow they finished like 8th the year before.
Yeah, well, COVID year was fake.
True.
We all know it. Dodgers won the World Series. Sheffield finished in the top half after being promoted. Not real. Willian scores to close it out, Sam. He won't stop. He can't stop and won't stop.
Yeah, absolute Arjen Robben-esque cut inside. Hit with a curler.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Robin.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of
You wish you could be at Fulham these days.
flatters the score line a little bit.
A bit, I guess, but yeah, 2-1 was probably fair.
I just feel like Fulham was not
They weren't
very
great. No, I completely agree. We are on the same page when it comes to that.
good. So
Speaking of not
anyways.
great, unless you have something else to say about this game, I have nothing to say.
No, I was going to move on to the next one.
Good. Speaking of not great, Brentford's collapse.
You hate
And Man
to see
U
it.
for 80 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
Also not
absolutely.
great.
You hate to see it.
Let's get into it, Sam.
Yeah, I thought Brentford had a decent start. They kind of opened up with some possession. It wasn't super like attacking or anything, but just kind of comfortable possession, which is a good way to start when you're away. Old Trafford, just kind of get some momentum building. But United, they at times had some of their possession, as they have this season, where it's just kind of like they have the ball and they pass it around with no real intention.
Yes.
And then that leads to another mistake from Casemiro. I think you brought that up last week.
Yeah, how fans are just out on him. They're already ready to move on.
Yeah.
It was nice for half a year where they thought he was really good, because he was. And now he's not playing. I think the issue with Casemiro isn't quality. I think he's fine, but they just play him every single game because they have no depth. It was like, okay, step 1, you should get a 6. You got a 6. Perfect. Now get another one. And now they're kind of have like Amrabat as a kind of like a 6. I don't really know what he is. He's kind of just like a 8/6, but they play him together because they have no depth just in midfield in general. Because their other options are, Donny Van de Beek or Scott McTom.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, was not impressed with Mount in this game. Bruno did enough to pass the test, I guess. I don't know. Rashford's just fallen off a cliff since the new contract.
Yeah, it's insane. So, anyways, just to finish off that first goal, Jensen able to get the ball off of Casemiro and scores. Terrible save attempt from Onana.
I don't get like why you would spend big on a keeper. It's just not. It's not the smart thing to do, in my humble opinion. Sure, Liverpool hit and they got the best keeper in the world with Alisson, but how many guys have been bought for 40, 50 mil, or in this case, Onana 60 mil, and it's just like they're like mediocre.
Yeah.
And you're promised stuff like, oh, he's amazing at distribution. He's one of the best in the world at it. It's like, okay, I guess. Is that really worth 60 mil to play out of the back?
Yeah.
Not in my book, but what do I know? Yeah, that save. He's just had so many blunders where it's like shots right at him, and he's just like, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
It's a confidence thing, to say the least. My boys Evan and Maguire should have had a clean sheet. Should have had a clean sheet.
Yes, the dream team. After that, United with a lot of possession, but really no ideas because they have no tactics because Eric Ten Hag is fraudulent. Goes into halftime. 1-0 Brentford. Second
La
half,
build up
mostly the
play,
same.
Sammy. La build up play.
Yeah, they haven't had any tactics for a long time. Second half, not really anything different. I mean, it was a pretty boring second half, I thought,
Yeah, until the very end, whether they're
till the
just
very
piling
end.
it on. Yeah,
Yeah.
all it takes for United is just to get guys in the box and just spam the ball in there. Just keep packing it in there against these teams that are not elite. And Brentford has a good defense, but not elite. There's bound to be a mistake at some point. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Um,
And I would say the thing with United, they don't take any risks.
no, that's how it's always been. But yet they'll settle for like long shots, like early in the game and stuff. And it's like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Very weird.
So
Uh,
they make the substitution. Scott McTominay comes on, scores in the 89th minute, but was offside.
yes,
But that's
yeah,
just
a little
an
flick.
indicator of things to come. As 90 plus 3, McTominay grabbing the equalizer after a terrible spill from Strakosha.
Listen, if a team that's like on the brink of Europa League and Champions League and Serie A is letting a guy walk for free, he's probably not good.
Yeah, I'll just
Lazio
mention
let that guy go for free, and there's probably a reason.
I'll just mention, and then obviously the winner in the 97th minute, McTominay
Oh well,
scoring from a long set piece. Again, I thought this one could have been
that keeping,
saved.
yeah, no, that keeping was terrible.
Yeah, and after watching this one, I messaged you like I was excited to see because we had been talking about how poor Mr. Flecken has been,
Yeah,
and then it's
see,
like, okay, so
it's even worse.
I've heard this
Well,
guy
that's
is decent,
yeah,
but he comes in, he cannot catch a ball to save his life. He
no,
literally spilled every single
he's
shot.
he's permanent Bobby Sanchez. He's Bobby Sanchez blooper reel, but like all the time. I Yeah, I don't know. He didn't have many challenges as far as shots and stuff in this game for the most part. Uh I want to say United had probably like if I had to guess like 5 or 6 on that, but um I just was not impressed with him, but also Brentford's defense, I don't know how they weren't able to hold it a bit better, especially kind of out wide and whatnot. It was kind of leaky and stuff. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And McTom cooks on your head with the
Yeah,
Harry Maguire assist for the second goal. By the way, the header on.
true. Streets won't forget it.
Yeah, must be said also, and I'm gonna point this out till the end of time. Garnacho created that chance for the first McTom goal, and it will never not be hilarious that he's better than Anthony and Jadon Sancho. And he's one, not that great, two, like 18 years old.
Yeah.
And they bought him from Atletico for like 3 mil. it's it's I don't know what to say. Good result for United. Terrible performance, quite frankly. Brentford, terrible result and absolutely just pitiful collapse.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? That was just brutal. That was very un-Brentford like. If they conceded equalizer, I get that. Okay, that's not like out of the realm of possibility. To lose that game, that's like that makes me question like Brentford just in general and stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe not Thomas Frank as a manager, but maybe it is on him. But the players in that dressing room, that's pretty brutal.
Well, I just felt like that performance from Strakosha was one where you're like immediately your contract is terminated. Like, see ya, go find another team because that was horrendous.
Yeah, and it's one of those things we probably should have figured. It's like, okay, well, they're willing to let Raya. They have Raya, but he's gonna go. Okay, okay. They instantly bring in someone else. Not even like give Strakosha a chance. They're just like, okay, no, we're bringing someone else in, and then bring Fleck in.
Yeah,
Obviously, it was that guy, but it's just like, ay.
that's a good point.
So, I need to see something out of United really, really fast because they're getting these results, but I mean, this won't hold up for long. This is the most fake stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like even, let's look at teams below them. Chelsea, you feel better about Chelsea right now? Man U
Yes.
is a -3 goal differential. Chelsea is a +4. I mean, Forest or Fulham, probably not, but they're close. It's around there with United. United's level on points with Palace. You definitely feel better about Palace. Obviously, they just beat them. So,
Yeah.
and Man U's a point behind Newcastle. So, Man U's not even in the ballpark with Newcastle in
No
terms of
way.
quality at the moment.
No way.
So, it is what it is.
But also,
United
it
will get
feels like
there.
Newcastle definitely has had a much harder start to the
Well, yeah,
season.
exactly. But if you just look at the table, I think there would be people who are like, "Oh, well, Newcastle's kind of right around United," and if you're not paying attention, you're like, "Well, yeah, there's a reason for that." Newcastle played all these tough teams, and United are crapping their pants out here,
Yeah.
having to get last-minute winners against Brentford and grinding out 1-0ers against Burnley.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right, let's move on.
Yeah,
Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest,
that's right. Last game of Saturday.
pretty solid for a 0-0.
A pretty evenly matched game.
Yeah. Not the
Start.
most exciting, but could have been worse.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it started off. Palace had quite a bit of possession early on, but Forest kind of grew into the game. Big chance in the first half, probably the best chance of the game potentially. Gibbs White had the first time chip,
Oh, that was
so
so dirty.
perfect, but it hit off the post. Absolutely disgusting that went off the post because that was just beautiful.
Yeah, it was so nice. It was so nice, and that ball too. Oh, oh,
So good.
amazing,
Um,
amazing stuff.
I thought a point of interest in the first half was Jeffrey Schlupp coming off, getting
Yeah,
replaced by young
Rexiaki.
Raksaki.
Yeah,
Thought he was pretty good. Created some chances for Palace.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of fitting the mold of the Tecker god, the tricky winger for Palace. They love so much. The Wolf
Yeah.
Zaha regen.
Um, yeah, I thought he looked solid in this. I thought Palace were kind of dire at times going forward. In this
Yeah.
game, but so were Forest. I mean, Forest for the most part was like Serge Aurier whipping balls in the first half, and it was like, what is this? How's your offense? This is not your attack. Stop this.
That is
Stop
true.
this right now. Um, yeah. Trying to think if there was. Oh, the Murillo chance right before half. That was insane. He
Yeah.
almost walked through the whole team, but he shot it right at Sam Johnstone.
Yeah, that was a great run from Murillo.
That was nuts. Forrest at least starting to have somewhat a semblance of a defense. Even though Willie Balley's still in there. He at least was manageable today, but um and I mean it helps having Sangare and Dominguez in there. Those guys both look like real solid players. So
Yeah. Goes into halftime 0-0. Second half, big chance for Mateta on the
oh
break after a square
oh
ball from Edouard.
I
Puts
didn't
the
know how it
shot
went
wide.
wide. I didn't know how it went wide. My eyes I thought it was an optical illusion.
Yeah, that one was hard to watch.
Well, lately it's been, well, not lately, but this year for the most part, it's been him setting up Edward and Edward scoring. So that's why it's funny that you know, it ended up with him on this chance and it kind of fluffed it, unfortunately, for him and Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
What did you think when what's his name? Got subbed off Riedewald when he was starting, what did you think? What went through your mind? Riedewald and Jordan Ayew on the same field.
It's so funny that for some reason Riedewald is like such a Roy Hodgson player. Like
Yeah, just kind
I
of
remember
a
watching
bit
him.
versatile, but he's not really good at anything. And you're like, oh man.
I remember when Roy Hodgson was in his first stint at Palace, and it was like, all right, every week we're getting Riedewald in there. It's like, what does he do? Well, nothing really, but you know, a
Has a
little
good
bit of
chunk of
this, a little
Palace's
bit of
team.
that.
A little bit of Riedewald in my life.
Exactly. That's what Roy Hodgson's thinking.
Yeah, there's some Jordan Ayew too. Nathaniel Klein, not the best of games either, unfortunately for him.
Getting ready for his Luton Town transfer.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah,
You know who'd be a great Luton Town guy like 3 years ago if they were up? Glenn Johnson. Glenn Johnson would have been perfect.
I came up with who's gonna be the third though.
Who?
Ryan Bertrand.
Okay.
Is that not
Yeah,
perfect?
that is pretty good. He might even be a year late. He could have been on Luton
True,
last year.
true. He wasted his Luton year on Southampton.
Yes. Well, he's on Leicester last year, right?
Was he on Leicester last
He
year?
was. Yeah.
What is he?
Yeah, I think yeah, because he was one of the guys they released at the end of the year when they did a clear out.
Okay, I'm just verifying.
You do that. Second half, um, Palace looked a little better in attack.
You're
Couple
correct.
decent chances, but nothing that really stood out. There was a nice play from Gahey in this one. His ability to dribble, he's so good. He's so good.
Yes.
I don't know how like I think, Tottenham will probably be in European football next year, so they'll need a bit of depth. I think he'd be a fantastic signing for them.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be pushing on starting, I'd say.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I think he'd be not just the third choice, he'd probably be the second, if not the first.
Yeah.
But I know they love to act like Romero so good.
That they do.
Could be at United too.
Yeah.
10 fraud in his tactics. Uh is there anything towards the end of the game that really caught your eye in this one?
There was that final chance, 89th minute, Dominguez cutting inside, shot saved nicely by Sam Johnston on the full stretch. Finishes 0-0. Feel like a point apiece is fair.
Yeah. I think Dominguez, obviously after Gibbs White, because Gibbs White's got to be everyone's favorite Palace player, Forest player. I think Dominguez will be my guy on Forest.
Feel like you're Willy Bolly all day.
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood starting the match.
I know. I didn't like that very
Couldn't
much.
believe it.
I didn't like that very much.
Could not believe it. All right, let's move on to Sunday's
Sunday.
games. First one of the day, a tasty one,
Brighton.
Brighton versus Liverpool. It was a doozy.
It was a doozy. Speaking of a doozy, Adingra, Sam.
He's cooking.
He's cooking.
He's absolutely.
You go Simon or Simone?
You know, I'm big Psy.
Big Sai
Adingra.
Adingra. That just sounds like it could be a last name in of itself.
True.
Sai Adingra.
Yeah.
Sayonara, Sai Adingra.
Interesting
Because
to
he's passed
see,
you and the ball's in the net.
Interesting to see Baleba,
Yes.
the Caicedo replacement, getting the first start against Liverpool. Into the fire.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw this with Brighton last week, some rotation and whatnot. Except it was Jack Hinkelschwood. It sounds like you have like a lisp or something when you're saying his name. Jack Hinkelschwood. Doesn't sound like a real last name.
Schwood.
Yeah, I was impressed by Liverpool to kind of neutralize Matoma and Pedro in this one. Even Pascal Gross, to a certain extent, was not really cooking to the certain extent that he tends to.
Yeah, it seemed like both sides were just kind of evenly matched in terms of at times they wanted to play building out of the back but kind of struggled. We saw 20 minutes in a poor giveaway from Virgil van Dijk leads to a goal for Mr. Saya Dingra early on. Just a really poor pass from Van Dijk. I know some people were putting that more on McAllister, but I put it on Van Dijk. Just kind of
Yeah.
hung him out to dry with that pass.
Yes.
Uh,
Completely agree.
Baleba had some flashes in the first half. It looked like in the second half he was pretty gassed, so still needs to adapt to the pace of the Premier League. But like I was saying earlier, both sides trying to play out of the back, but the attack wasn't quite firing on all cylinders. Took a while for Liverpool to get going, but they finally did towards the end of the first half. They draw level through Mo Salah with some good link-up play that just kind of sliced through the heart of the Brighton defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Salah sneakily having a really good year once again. Able to. It's one of those things where this could potentially be his last year, but just making it count for Liverpool on the title push, giving them the goals. Darweezy Habibi on the assist, Sam.
Absolute
A little
champagne football.
perfect slotted pass.
Yes. And then shortly after, Pascal Gross pulling down Sobi Water Shabozalai in the box.
Yeah.
Potential denial of clear goal scoring opportunity. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, easily could have been. I would not give it because, I'm a man of the people and the people are for Brighton. But I think that the whole Sabozalai thing is really interesting because I thought he would just be like an out and out 10 for them, but he has been quite the balanced midfielder. So he's not getting a ton of goals and assists and whatnot, but his impact on the game of maneuvering the ball forward and matriculating it upfield has been huge for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely does play a little further back than I expected to. Yeah, I think I agree with you. For me, it wasn't a red card. There was someone on the line for Brighton, and it felt like there was a chance that Verbruggen could, come
Why do
and
they set
make a
up
save
Bart
at
for
the
all the hardest challenges? They don't
end.
play Jason Steele for the hard games.
That is true. That's true.
They're like, Bart, you're going to be the guy who has a sandbag for the worst keeper in the league, and you play all the good teams.
So, anyways, Mo Salah steps up, converts the penalty, and Liverpool
Not
go.
always a gimme with him.
That is true. Liverpool go into
Not
halftime,
always a
2-1.
gimme.
Couple early chances for both sides. Adingra had one, and then big chance from Ryan Gravenberch on an empty net
Yes,
after a beautiful
that
low cross from Sobozalai.
it's because I said he was actually playing half decent, and then he just dropped that. I was like, oh,
We had like 3 real sitters this
just
week.
whiffed on. Yeah, Mateta, this one. What's the other one you're talking about?
There was one Adebayo.
Oh yeah, the Luton one. Yep. Yeah, this was not the best. I was interested to watch was Igor on Brighton because we hadn't really, seen a ton of him so far.
Mm-hmm.
The jury's still out on him. They obviously brought on Van Hecke for him, but we shall see.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good in this one.
I think he'll be a good fit stylistically for the Premier League. I think he'll fit well.
Yeah. 78 minutes in, Lewis Dunk
Solly.
draws level from a set piece just outside the box.
Solly.
The assist from Lord Solly March.
The big Saul.
There's a big chance in the 84th minute from João Pedro, but he put it over the bar. Game ends.
Yeah, brutal.
2-2. Points are shared.
Yes. Fair result, I would say. maybe you could make the case that Liverpool could have won, but
Yeah.
it's not a crazy result given the performance. Solid performance by both teams. Great rebound game for Brighton. You know, they really were kind of down the last couple weeks with some cup losses, some Premier League losses. So and even drawing. So good result for them.
Yes, indeed. Moving on to the next one, West Ham versus Newcastle. This one we felt like it was kind of hard to decide. What do you predict?
100%. 100%. And it was kind of hard to decipher even as the game was, you know, going on. And it kind of out of nowhere, one little mistake and, you know, things kind of open up. Newcastle air leading to the first goal. Emerson been sneaky good for West Ham. You talked about underrated players for the Premier League, and Jack Harrison's in there. I think not the most underrated, but if you're making like a top 11 and you do like by position, Emerson could be your left back for most underrated.
Yeah,
There's a world.
I think so. Other than Mr. Doty.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the ultimate underrated. Luton Town is like that's like the dark web of underrated players. It's like no one actually knows them. Uh, but yeah, first goal, and I want to say it was, I don't know, was it Pope's fault on that one? If I'm thinking of the right play,
It was, yeah, I mean, it kind of was, but it was also kind of like Emerson had a bad touch, but it worked
and it
perfectly.
worked perfect. Yeah. Hmm.
So partially, but also partially luck. Yeah, the first half, West Ham just kind of set up tactically to perfection. They sat back deep. The defense, midfield, Newcastle could
Absorbing.
not find a way through that defense
No.
at all.
It's tough. Alvarez, Aguirre, and Zuma, when they're on, are really kind of clicking in terms of locking down central. And Emerson and Shoefall, like I said, Shoefall's been doing a little more in attack lately and stuff, but it's looking pretty good all the way around in general,
Mm-hmm.
for West Ham.
Yeah. Goes into halftime 1-0. Second half, game kind of opened up a bit. There was a good chance early on. Alvarez had a diving header, and then Big Dan Burn had a header saved.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately from the subsequent corner, Isak drawing level after a gifted pass from Alvarez, leading to the goal there. And then 5 minutes later, Newcastle
Mm-hmm.
getting a second goal. Great play from Newcastle. Bruno G pinging the ball. Kieran Trippier hits the first time cross to Isak. Just gets a foot on it. That was some absolute champagne football from Newcastle.
Yeah, I want to say that there's kind of talks about the Aguirre getting shoved in the back by Isak on one of the goals, and it's like, it wasn't like a full extension, but yeah, if you're not expecting, that might happen. But
I thought it was
I
pretty
don't know.
soft.
Yeah, I would say so too. I think as a center back, you have to be a bit more solid and kind of know that there's going to be contact.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a big chance Isak getting in behind and then rounding Areola, but then the angle was too tight. Post. And then right before full time, Kudus subbed on, getting the first goal in style, kind of the volley into the ground and into the back of the net from the outside of the box.
Yeah, that was a super nice goal from Kudus, and I think that there's a lot of potential with him being a wide kind of attacking player. Kind of like a Bowen where he can score goals. He's, I guess, more like a 10, but he kind of drifts out wide. Real nice presence about him. I know he's rumored to a bunch of teams this summer. Goes to West Ham, amazing pickup for them. I think he'll be great as far as Europa League play, and then even rotation for when, if Paqueta's hurt or Bowen's hurt or something like that. I think there's a lot of potential there. So we shall see, but I'm very impressed by him. And another shoe fall assist, of course.
Yes. So that one ends 2-2. Probably a fair result. I knew Newcastle had a lot of the ball in this one, but West Ham defended well,
Mm-hmm.
and they took their chances when they came.
Yeah, it's impressive how real practical and clinical West Ham have been this year. And, you know, you might be kind of like, oh, Newcastle dropping points. It is not easy to go to West Ham and grab points this year. To say the least, it will not be a gimme.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, moving
So,
on to the Midlands Derby. Wolves versus Aston Villa. Kicking off this one.
yes.
Kind of like we expected. Villa with a lot of possession early on. Wolves sitting back, looking to hit on the counter.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it goes. It kind of is what it is. Villa love to get their possession. They love to get set up. It was pretty balanced in the end. I think it ended up 54-46, so it wasn't too crazy. But yeah, early on, it just kind of set up the way you thought it would it would be. But you know, Villa love their back three, and then they get Matty Cash and Digne up there.
Mm-hmm.
But attack really wasn't clicking a lot early for Villa. As much as it has been lately. And obviously the cliche for them is, oh, first 15 minutes, someone's bound to score. Not the case in this one.
Yeah, they did have early chance for Matty Cash at the back post, but Jose Sa came up with a save on that one. And yeah, as the half went on, Wolves got a bit more into the game, established a little bit more possession. Overall, it was pretty even. First half, went into halftime, 0-0. Second half, Ollie Watkins had a early first time effort um, that was saved, I believe, and then a couple quick
Yeah.
goals. 53 minutes in, Neto making a good run down the right, finds the man of the hour, Hwang Hee-chan. He's been the
He's
centerpiece.
been clicking. We like this talent. It's just he gets hurt all the time.
Yeah, and he got hurt in this one too.
Yeah. What else is new?
Yeah. Villa responded right away with a set piece. Watkins playing a ball to the back post for Pau Torres, who scores. Disappointing if you're Wolves to concede that goal so fast after
Yes.
taking the lead.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, turn around and flip it on you like that. It's especially, not the most orthodox way for Villa to score. So it's kind of catching Wolves off guard. But Wolves midfield in this one was just not really all that impactful. And your guy Cunha, Sam, is not looking so hot either in
No.
this one.
Wolves had a penalty shout 70 minutes in. Neto making a run into the box, takes contact from behind and goes down. No penalty awarded on that one.
Nope.
Mario Lamina getting sent off for a second yellow card
He looked good. Looked
right
good
at the
doing
end
it.
of the game. That was pretty funny.
Your guy Kalajic in the plus 14 as well.
Yes.
Getting a nice yellow. I was just really concerned about how much it dragged on,
Yeah,
this one.
it did look like Villa were gonna grab the late winner.
Yeah.
Wolves were hanging on for dear life.
It was it was not looking great for Wolves.
Yeah, they had a few chances. Zaniolo, Konsa, and then Watkins had
I
her
saw
hitting the
something
post.
about Tonali and Zaniolo getting in trouble, potentially being investigated for some kind of, I don't know if it was match fixing or something in Italy, but or some kind of betting.
Yeah, I think it was
But
betting.
uh-oh.
I don't know why these players even
Think they can
bother.
get away with it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Italy, you never know. It could be like the mob or something. But
that is true. That's true.
if it's, you're Ivan Toney, you're like, quick 20 quid, real quick. It's like, maybe not worth it.
No, not at all. So this one ends level. There was a good portion of the game where I felt like, oh man, disappointing for Wolves. But then after watching the end of the game, it was like, oh,
Yeah,
nice, they
they're
hung
lucky.
on for a draw.
Yeah, they were lucky.
Yeah.
Let's go to the final game, Sam's favorite game of the week. Man City, Arsenal. How did you feel about how Arsenal lined up, Sam?
In terms of lineup, I was pretty surprised, honestly, seeing Jorginho getting the start and then
Gotta have him out there. Big game, George. Gotta have him out there.
Trossard as well.
Yeah, I was surprised by Trossard and Nketiah.
Yeah, Trossard and Nketiah. I was pretty surprised. I didn't feel very confident going into the game, but
No Rodri. That's a different animal.
yeah, no Rodri, obviously, no De
Rico Lewis
Bruyne.
out there, brother.
Yeah.
Kovacic out there.
Yeah, Kovacic was kind of like the big story of the first half. Kovacic getting a getting a yellow card and then
Did you
two
see the
separate
like
chances.
explanation? Did you see the explanation from like I don't know if it was um a referee guy. It was some British
Was it
analyst
Howard
pundit
Webb?
guy. It might have been, but just the fact he's just justifying it, and I'm like, what world are we in right now? What planet are we on?
Yeah, I saw it justified as like, oh, well, he didn't want to let the game,
It
you
was
know.
something like what I heard was it was going to the side in terms of like where he's sliding at him, and it's not directly in line with his leg. It was like to the side, closer to the ball and stuff. I'm like, I don't even know what to say because he had like a ton of momentum build up going for that. You know, like he was going in, and it's behind. It's behind. Like I don't know. I
Yeah.
just don't understand.
Yeah, definitely seemed like a clear red card. I heard it described as more of like a game management, like the referee didn't want things to get out of hand. It's like, okay.
Mm,
He wanted to keep all the players on the field.
which is absurd. Make the
Yeah.
right call. If a bad play's done, then you got to make the right call.
And then he gets away with a clear second yellow card.
And it can't be reviewed
Yeah.
because second yellows can't be reviewed,
Yeah,
which
overall,
is
I mean,
awesome.
in my opinion, the play in this game was really low quality for
Oh,
two top
100%.
teams.
Man City was just trying to grind it out. That's all they can do with no Rodri. I mean, their best chance came within like 5 minutes where it was like that kind of I don't know if it was off a corner, but it was like Holland heading it to Ake and then Ake like put it over the bar from like this edge of the 6 yard box. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Like I think that was the closest they got to scoring. And I mean, that's a huge I think changed the game.
Yeah, and then there was also the playing out of the back from Arsenal trying to entice City in and then nearly paying for it. Raya got caught out, big chance. Forget who it was exactly, but definitely could have conceded there. And that's just my frustration is you have Arteta saying like, "Oh, I wish I could have substituted my goalkeeper at certain times." And it's like, okay, so you have Raya making these mistakes. It just feels so hypocritical.
I'm not liking Mick Arteta this year. It is not he's not meshing with my vibes.
Yeah, I would just prefer if you're like, yeah, we like David Raya and he's our number one goalkeeper. Like, don't give some BS
Well,
excuse.
not even that. Like it's like you're constantly flip flopping, and then you're just like shitting on both of them anyways about like the Ramsdale. He didn't out openly shit on Ramsdale, but like the whole pulling him because he had one mistake against Fulham. It's like okay,
Yeah,
and then this game he comes out and craps on Raya. It's like really, dude. I get you want to set like a precedent for like a high level. This is not really how you do it by constantly flip flopping and stuff. I don't understand.
yeah, and it just feels like you're trying to have your guys where it's not really justified. I mean, obviously Ramsdale's not perfect, but he was still voted like the player's goalkeeper of the year. He's still a very good goalkeeper. So I mean that feels kind of unfair in certain ways, and then you have some other players who feel like they just, you know, Arteta prefers them, not necessarily because of their quality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a guy like Smith Rowe who could barely see the field. Doesn't
Yeah,
even
and
play
he
in this
could
one.
easily start on
And then
could
meanwhile,
start on a bunch of teams.
you've been just running Havertz. How come you won't
Trotting him
give
out there. I
Smith
feel like
Rowe any of those minutes?
Super Mick is very close to losing the plot with
Yeah.
this. I'm not seeing it. Um, as the game went on, uh, you know, like you said, chances were few and far in between for both sides in the first half.
Yeah. And
So
the second half, I would say.
yeah, might as well can make it the whole game.
Yeah.
The big moment. This is where you might say, well, how can you question Arteta? He made subs of Partey, Tomiyasu, and Havertz, and they all touched the ball on the goal.
That is true.
So I guess to each their own, but obviously long ball forward, and then Tomiyasu heading it to Havertz. Havertz with the layoff, and then Martinelli taking a shot, rips off Ake, and deflects in. Massive, massive goal for Arsenal. If this would have been a draw, it would have been a win for Man City, in my opinion, because to do that without Rodri and you still limit Arsenal, that would have been massive. But Arsenal able to take all 3 points, much needed, even though it was lucky. It is what it is.
Yeah, it was definitely lucky. Not a super convincing win by any means. I would say they were second best on the day. I mean, both sides didn't play well, but
Yeah.
they got the win. Guess that's what counts at the end of the day.
Yes. Um, Man City, you're just gonna pencil them in still to win the league. I know a lot of people are still doing that. That's what worries me.
Yeah, they haven't been good so far to start the season, but I mean, even last year they didn't start that great either. Still plenty of time.
I just think this is a totally different team, though, personnel wise. I just don't like it. There's a lot more question marks. Not saying that they can't do it, but I'm a little more uneasy when you're relying on Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob and guys like that more so than, what you had last year,
Yeah.
personally. And really, you could see the difference between what they're asking Kovacic to do and what Kovacic is in this game. It perfectly kind of exemplified what it is. So I still think they'll win the league. I think it'll come down to probably the final day or the second to last match day. I think it's going to be way closer than people think. But I guess the one thing they have going for them is that Tottenham are the kings of the bottle, and Arsenal bottled it last year. But they've made a few changes, and we shall see. But
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows?
All I know is Man U are not going to win the league.
Yes, that is for sure. So, match week 8 ends. Tottenham in the driver's seat with Arsenal and City close behind. It's got to be said, Tottenham has had a pretty easy start to the schedule.
Their wins are Luton, Burnley, Sheffield, and United. And they've drawn Brentford. They beat Liverpool on a fluke goal, but they drew Brentford and they drew Arsenal. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
they
say I'm
shouldn't
not
have beat
impressed, but
Liverpool.
they've done what they had to do.
They shouldn't have beat Liverpool.
No, that should have been a draw.
Yeah.
If not worse, they could have easily lost that game if the onside call is correct.
Absolutely.
So who knows? It's my broad radar isn't fully going off for them yet, only because they're still playing well. But they could have one or two results go against them this year, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would say they're probably playing the best so far, but obviously Arsenal and City really haven't looked like they've gotten out of first gear yet.
Yeah, especially, Arsenal in this last game, but even in the game against United, they're going into these big games. Like, I feel like they're way too timid and not playing the right style. They could impose themselves on these games.
Yeah.
So we shall see going forward.
Yeah. So, anyways, no matches this weekend. International
Yes,
break, like we
international
said.
break.
So,
Much to the chagrin of everyone on this podcast.
yes. But we will be back next week.
Expect an update from weatherman, doctor, school teacher Sam about what is going on in the world of the Premier League.
A man of many hats.
He's quite literally a jack of all trades.
Absolutely. Emphasis on the master of none.
Disagree. Hard disagree.
Hard
Hard disagree.
All right. Well,
All right.
any closing thoughts, Mr. Hank?
There's a few teams that are like just really ticking my fraudulent radar at the moment, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll be discussing. We'll be ranking these fraudulent teams and whatnot next week on the narrative pod, where we deep dive, kind of looking ahead, what's happened, what's gonna happen, and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
until next week.
Keep on hatting, you Mad
Keep on,
Hatters.
you Lutoners, you Luton Towners.
You Towners. Keep perusing, lads. Keep perusing.
Adios, mis amigos.